Yeah, just to recap, we've been working on dressing this red oak for a round table. I got a good start on the surface of this second board. One, like I said, is done. It's been planed. It's been thicknessed. It's got the say 80% on one side, 95% on the face side, the top side. Yeah, there's more work to do here. I'll do this off camera. We'll get this flattened out the rest of the way. Like I said, it's rough. It came in, it was purchased as a rough sawn board. There's milling marks all the way down it. It's been kiln dried, but it's taken on some curves, some crowns and twists, and we're taking all that out. We're making a flat top. You start by making a flat top with the planes, and then once I'm satisfied with that, I've got this marking gauge set up for the thickness that I think all the boards will finish at. So we'll transfer get the thickness, and then we'll work on the bottom side to get the board to the right, thinned out to the right thickness. We're not concerned with the surface quality on the underside anywhere near as much. You don't want it to be, super bad. You're more concerned with the thickness and the fact that you're flat. The board's flat without, any twists and any deep tear outs in the wood. Okay. So I've spent some time in, let's call it episode 1 of this round top table. This table will be, as I said, round top and should seat 4 comfortably. I've gotten two of the 4 board top. They're very wide boards. I've got 2 of them pretty flat and got the wine taken out. So I thought before I went any further, I would get the 2 joined together. This is board number 2 of 4 that'll make up the top. They're 1 and 3. They're thickness to 1 3/8 inch thick, approximately. And so we'll join them together. I spend a lot of time, especially with these thick boards, of getting them joined together before we glue up. And I'll be setting one on top of the other for the fit. And my intention before I glue them up is to get them pretty much set pretty straight on their own. This makes it easier. There's a lot of fitting with these thick boards. It's not as easy as a 3/4 inch thick board. And I'll even, to fine tune it, I'll even, use a block plane as I need to fine tune little spots to get it as close as I can. I've taken a look at the edge of this board, and I could see it's running, it's a little bit out of square. This is my face, or my registered face. That's the top of the table. So I'm registering off that, and I could see it's a little out of square with this. This is the high side towards me. It's actually got the tiniest little bit of crown in the middle, and that's good. Not that important, but that's good. So once again, I'll start with this plane. This is, once again, my 18th century, 20th century. It's a joiner that I've got quite a bit of curvature to the iron, and I use it to start most of my rough sawn projects. I completely understand most people don't do this, used it this way, a joiner plane. It just worked out well for me, so the best use of this plane. Well, it's a dual purpose. I'm gonna take the roughness out of the board, and I'm also gonna start squaring and flattening process. This is not a planing tutorial, but if you're high in the middle, the best thing to do is to plane the middle first. And then once you've gotten it pretty close, then you can see I'm taking heavy cut. That's probably enough of that. Once you've got it pretty close, then you could take the full length cuts. All right, so now we could check, see where I'm at. I'm actually pretty good. We're not going to assume anything. Let's take out my joiner plane. Once again, this is a 30-inch joiner that I made up. Do you need a 30-inch joiner? No, you don't need a 30-inch joiner, but I wanted a 30-inch joiner. It's got a new old stock single iron. I went through this morning and lapped the saw a little bit to make sure it's straight, because this plane's been sitting, maybe it's up to 2 years without being used. Not getting anything yet. Should get something going. Like beeswax and paraffin wax on it. And travel down the board. Go even a little heavier. So I'm going to continue on here till I get all the rough tool marks off the edge. Almost there. I don't know if I'll ever do any videos on plane making. It's been sort of done. There's a guy you could look up, David Weaver. He does a pretty good job. One thing I will tell you is that, it takes practice to make a decent plane. This is not a copy of any plane. This plane here has just features that I like the best. So, it's not copying any kind of vintage plane exactly. So I'll go ahead and carefully check. So whereas at one time it was a little high on my side, it's square there, a tiny bit high there, and a little bit high there. We'll just bias the plane a little bit to the side. One thing about red oak, you're not going to get pretty shavings. You're going to get junk. Looks like pencil sharpener junk. Okay, let's check that now. really is that simple. It's not difficult. Good. Pretty good. A little bit high there. I mean, I've done enough work exclusively using wooden squares to know they're fine. They're perfectly accurate for traditional, or good enough for traditional woodworking. They're lightweight, they're fun to make. This one's made out of just hard maple. I mean, they stay true. You can tune them up just like you could tune up the wooden planes endlessly and quickly. I mean, this plane here maybe sat for, you know, like I said, up to 2 years not being used, and I got it tuned up on a strip of sandpaper on a granite slab in, you know, 3 minutes. You can't do that with a metal plane. So the way I have this board fixed, it's very rigidly fixed. I've got, like I said before in the previous video, I've got an apron board on the front of my workbench, and it's got some dog holes. So there's some iron dogs. I'm just holding it. You know, sometimes you have to, you know, tighten that up, but it'll hold it pretty well. You can easily, like with a metal plane, you've got your lever. You know, you could throw the blade out of square. You could do the same thing with a wooden plane. Just easily just tap it. Like I said before, if you want a little finer cut, maybe I'll go to a finer cut now. A little wrap. And just touch the iron again. Don't make fun of my workbench. It works for me. Very simple workbench. Made it about 10 years ago. Still not right. Typically it doesn't take this long. Must be the operator. I'm going to try something. I'm going to put the iron a tiny bit out of square. Okay, success there. Good. Good. So from my experience, this looks good. It seems to be square. This huge joiner, you know, it's pretty flat. Might not be perfectly flat, but we'll see. But what I'll do is I'll go from this point here, and then I'll do the same to the second board that I want to glue up together. And like I said, you know, I'll do this side here, and I'll set it right up on there, and try the fit. Now, nothing's been done to this, but when I am done and carefully fitting these together, you know, they'll be flat across. They'll stand up one over the other, and they'll be straight. So I'll get them and tweak them, and I will spend a little more time in the fit as needed. And yeah, and I know with these wide boards, I mean, you know, sometimes, you know, I'll take like a flashlight, look for any light between the joints. You know, sometimes it is a matter of just taking a little bit off here and there, tiny little shavings to get a really good fit. Once I've got that fit, I've got dogs for the end. I'll clamp it up. I'll clamp it up with straight edges, and it'll be great. So yeah, let's call this episode 2. I've made pretty good progress on this. It shouldn't take too long. I've got these boards to join, and then I'm going to cut 2 more pieces. And really, one of the reasons why I'm doing this is because just to be efficient with materials. I mean, doing this at this point, I could do all my joining, my flattening, surface prep done first. What I'm trying to do is get both boards, you know, glued up, and then when the center point will be between the boards, and then start tracing my circle, which would be, it's going to be at least 42 inches diameter. And that's the only reason at this stage I'm doing that is, you know, I'm going to set up a string and start tracing an arc to get the biggest circles I can. And where it hits somewhere in there, you know, I just don't want to cut pieces off a 10-foot wide board that are longer than I need. But yeah, that's what I'm working with. And as I said in the first video, what I've got for this surface, I mean, it feels good. I implore you to use your hands. I'm thinking most people, your hand is very accurate. You know, I can feel plain track marks here. I can feel it's a tiny bit high here. Okay, so I went ahead and prepared the edge of the second board. And I'm ready to try fit together. Wide, very thick boards are a little bit different than the way I treat, say, a 3/4 inch glue up. I mean, I don't expect to get it perfect just by using a 30-inch plane. So I do a little fitting. I mean, that's pretty good there as far as flatness. Pretty good on this in the other end. So I'm satisfied with that, with flattening. I could see, you know, due to my best efforts to get them perfectly flat, there's a high spot in the middle here. So what's worked for me is, rather than, you know, go through and replane both sides, I can plane one of them, you know, work on one of the boards, and it would be the one I've already got fixed in the on the bench. And I'll take a smaller plane, you know, set pretty fine. So obviously, in relation to the two boards, you know, they're both a little bit crowned up. One practice too that's really good. I didn't really want to do this a tutorial on joining boards together, but the best practice is when you join, start in the middle. You know, create a depression in the middle, and then go full length planing to flatten. If you just start off full length planing, sometimes you'll never get the hump out of it. I don't know if that's the case here, but I've gotten a way to adjust it. So it's just a matter of trying now. So I could see a little bit in the area of here. And unless it's something extreme, to maybe there. Unless it's something extreme, I've had good luck just working on one board, making it fit to the one I'll have on top. Like all of us YouTubers say, this is not necessarily the best way. It's the way I do it. So, with the wide boards, with thinner boards and not boards that aren't as wide, you could clamp them and get them to bend, you know, to the imperfection, but not with a board this thick and this wide. You're gonna have to do some, at least my experience is, you're gonna have to do some fitting. And I've got this plane. I know I said I use block planes a lot, but not always. And I might even, you know, go a little finer. I've got the top side of the table to the point to the camera. Maybe again in that spot. I'm wearing gloves now. You don't, this kind of wood and this heavy wood, you just don't want to get one of these splinters. I think I'm going to end this video here, but you get the idea. I'm going to do some careful fitting. I will take my time, because once you glue it, see, it's still rocking in the middle. So I might get to the point where I decide, you know, I need to rejoin one with the long joiner. But that hasn't been my experience. Still in that same area. Okay, but so far so good. You know, I've got the, if I clamp this up, it's going to be flat enough for any table I build. I've got, this is a 4-board top. Like I said, I've got 2 more boards to prep, and then And then I'll lower this whole assembly. This will be glued together. I'll add a 12-inch board to this side and to the other side. And then we'll lay out the circle. So I guess we'll go into part 3 video next. Thank you.